What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Game Time with the Goss. I'm Maddie Cawley, co-founder of Dream Sports Media here with Brian Gossett. And today we're going to look up a little bit about the football games in week one and recap of the past 3 weeks in volleyball. So let's start with football. As the season kicked off last week, you went to a pair of games and I heard you didn't do too well in your picks, Brian. Arlington Seguin did get a big win on Thursday over Midlothian, though.
Yeah, Thursday night, first game of the season over at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington. And, on paper, Midlothian was the better team. I know it's a new year, new group of guys, but team coming off a 12-1 season, going 3 rounds deep in 5A D1. Arlington Seguin, meanwhile, D2 team, 3-7 last year, missed the playoffs. So a lot of people took Midlothian, and Arlington Seguin showed us that they could be a threat this year.
Nice.
Joe Gordon, who I actually just interviewed on Game Time with the Goss on Monday, just talking about that win.
Yeah.
He's got some talent, and Seguin's always had talent. They're kind of they don't have a large number of kids typically in their program, but sounds like this year they perhaps doubled their numbers than last year. So
That's awesome.
that'll help. But 21-7, they held Midlothian scoreless in the first half, 7 points overall. Had a couple of turnovers. I mean, that defense was just. I use the word, and I'll use it again, just nasty. And they're going to be nasty all season. A kid you should watch out for, a couple kids actually, Moses Madaduke at linebacker, and LaCorian Hodge, who Coach Gordon had high praise for. Offensively, they'll have to tweak some things, get rid of some flags. But Katarius Brown on the outside, he's a good kid. He's probably their top recruit. And they got a pair of running backs and a returning quarterback, Saron Evans. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind, looking like a fool, and I'll own up to it. After the game, I did. I talked to Coach Gordon and said, yeah, I took Midlothian by actually like 3 scores, and so he let me have it a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's all fun and games, and so yeah, Seguin. If they can continue that, especially on defense, yeah, just keep an eye on the Cougars.
That's awesome. And we all know, I mean, offense is going to win you some games, but defense ultimately is going to win you some championships. So congrats to those guys over at Seguin. That is an awesome win. So next we had on Friday, Burleson Centennial winning the boot over Burleson 35-6. And you liked what you saw from that Centennial group.
I did, but I took it on the chin on that one too. Actually, probably, yeah, the worst pick of the week, taking Burleson. But found out. I mean, I knew Burleson has a new coach. One of my buddies, Chad Worrell's over there, who built Brock into what they are today.
Yeah.
But found out that they're a relatively young team, and so they'll just grow. They have good pieces, but they've made some mistakes, turned the ball over. But Centennial, again,
They rolled.
yeah, just from last year, 12-2 team. 12 wins was the most wins in a single season for any Burleson team. Went 4 rounds deep. The only 2 losses they suffered was against Alito, who went on to win the state title. But yeah, I mean, Coach Geller does a great job. They graduated some key pieces, but some guys really stepped up. Iverson Moore is the new starting quarterback. They run that wing T triple option offense. Aiden Hicks is a 2-way star. Damian Long, who's I had some fun with him. Leading up to the game, he knew I picked Burleson, and so he kind of let me have it on Twitter, and then we had some fun after the game, after the win. So, and then Mason Stancliffe had perhaps he is up for our Player of the Week, but he perhaps had the best performance in the area. I mean, he had a fumble recovery. He had 2 interceptions. The first one, he got tackled at the 1, so he almost had a
Ah,
touchdown there. And then his second one was actually an 83-yard touchdown.
oh my gosh.
And then he was actually on the hands team when Burleson was trying for an onside kick, and he actually recovered that
Wow.
attempt. So he was
What a
all,
game.
yeah, he was all over the field. But yeah, Centennial really looked good, and I did like what the Spartans and Coach Geller showed us.
That's awesome. Well, congrats to Centennial on winning the boot. That is huge and a great kickoff to, their season. And so kind of huge slate of games, obviously, in DFW all of week 1. Brian, who were some of the standout teams and some of the surprises during opening week? We've been through a few of them, but let's, cover a few more.
Yeah, it seemed like the best game of the week. A lot of media was there. It was Duncanville and South Oak Cliff, 6A D1 champ versus 5A D2 champ.
Game.
SOC actually back-to-back state champs. That was over at SMU in Dallas, and Duncanville ended up winning 34-13. We kind of knew with SOC, what they were going to have some woes early on with defense. They only returned one starting defender from last year's group, but Coach Todd there, I think they'll be fine because SOC always has athletes. But Duncanville, I don't know. It's I think it really has the potential because Duncanville's they've been on this power run for the last
Right,
5 or 6 years now.
right.
I believe they've made it to the state title game perhaps 4 times in that span, but they have the potential to this could be the best of all of them in this 5 year stretch. Again, a lot of D1 kids. I mean, Colin Simmons is their star on defense. He's a 5-star, just committed to Texas.
Awesome.
Yeah, he leads the way on that group, and obviously there's a lot more. But Keelan Russell's the quarterback. He didn't start last year. Then with some injuries, he was able to come in and take them on that playoff run. Big game against SOC, 366 in the air, 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
Caden Durham actually ended up being our top ranked running back in DFW. Committed to LSU just before the season started, and out wide receiver DeCorian Moore, who's actually the top ranked 2025 in Texas. He also committed to LSU about a couple of days after Caden Durham. So
That's awesome.
just a bunch of athletes. I mean, from both
Yeah.
Duncanville and SOC, but Duncanville is obviously probably heavy favorite to go as far. And then coming back here to Parker County, another another game featuring state champs Alito, who won 5A D1. They were playing Dallas Parish Episcopal, who four-time defending TAPS D1 state champ.
Some powerhouses.
Yeah. Alito ended up winning 50-35, sort of this new era. Longtime coach Tim Buchanan, retired, and his name is actually on the stadium now. It's Tim Buchanan Stadium. His OC for the past 20 years, Robbie Jones, he's the new coach, so he picked up the win. Last year, I don't know. I think even people in Alito had their doubts how far they could go and win state.
Right.
Kind of a younger team and new faces.
Right. And new coach and everything, right? I mean, they've had this coach for,
This year,
right.
Robbie Jones came in, but yeah, I mean, last year, Hoss Haney was the quarterback, but that was his first year starting. He was receiver the previous year. They started 0-2. They lost to Paris. They got beat down pretty good by Geyer. I don't know how often Alito loses 2 straight, let alone start 0-2, but able to win 14 straight and win their 11th state title this year.
Awesome.
I think the standard is back up to where Alito is. They bring back a lot of talent with Haney, who's going to TCU, and I mean Hawk Patrick Daniels and Ray Gillier, Caden Finley, Tyson Timms. defense, Jaden Allen, who's Arkansas, Devon Keys, who's LSU, and Jake Gillespie, who was defensive champ MVP going to SFA. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think there's little to no change because Coach Jones has been there for almost 2 decades. So
Right.
I think Alito is sort of another favorite to go pretty far in 5A D1.
Definitely. It sounds like it. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the surprises during opening week. Obviously we had a couple of your upsets
Yeah.
off of your slate, but let's talk about a few other ones as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of gonna go off of Professor Diggs here. I know he picks games for the entire Metroplex. He might do it for the whole state. I'm not positive, but another cool thing he does is, aside from just picking the winners, he actually, picks like a margin, like, Alito will beat so and so by 7 or 14 points or whatever. So um, he's kind of like me. He'll let you know, he'll let you make us look like a fool at times, and we'll own up to it. So he had posted something about some of the largest or the bad picks he had made, and I had put out a few of them. I think one was Denison over Sherman. Denison's up there and kind of way up there in North Texas, but
Right.
Diggs had him. He had him to win. He had Sherman to win. I think by 28, and Denison won 42-0. So
Ooh.
seems like an upset there.
Yeah.
Talked about Seguin too. A lot of people took Midlothian. Seguin won
Yep.
21-7. Another one that Diggs, it was Keller, Timber Creek, and Lamar. I think Lamar he had winning by 7, and Timber Creek ended up winning 49-7, I think. So
Nice.
yeah. So there's quite a few upsets.
Yeah.
I just released our rankings for DFW. That's 6A, 5A, 4A below, and then private schools. 6A, I believe, stayed the same. The top 10 same teams, and then there was some movement in 5A and then 4A below. I think a lot of people expected them to win, but I don't know if they expected them to win by that margin, and that's Melissa, who is the
Okay.
number one team in the state rankings in 5A. They opened up their new stadium and they hosted Argyle, who was a state semifinalist last year.
Yeah.
And you know as well as I do, Argyle, their athletics is through the roof every year. But
Right.
Melissa ended up winning 50-14. So I don't know how many people
Ooh.
expected it to be that far off. Argyle rarely lets up that many points. So
Right.
not an upset, but
Melissa for sure made a statement.
made a statement. And I mean, top ranked team. Their stadium, $35 million.
Yeah.
You probably maybe seen it on.
Oh yeah. I've seen it all over social media. It's insane.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there were a couple upsets, but I think large scale, most of the teams, most of the ranked teams got that win.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. We love football season. So glad it's here. Kind of moving on to week 2. What's on tap for you, and what's some good games we need to look out for?
Yeah, week 2, not really set in stone yet, but really leaning on it is Richland and Haltom on Thursday, which is a big rivalry that kind of dates back to the 60s. They're going to be playing at the Birdville FAC. And then Friday, leaning towards something closer here to home in Fort Worth, Granbury and Lake Worth.
Nice.
That game is Friday at Lake Worth. Both teams are winning in week 1, and both teams entering the season with new coaches. And so nice to see both, start off their new era with
Right.
Dub. So that's the plan right now. Some other ones, I think like Dallas and Frisco Centennial could be a very good game. Let me actually pull it up here really quick. Because I had just sent out the week 2 picks for our pick'em group. Yeah, Lake Dallas and Frisco Centennial. I know Centennial got the win last week. I think Lake Dallas did too. You have Seguin, who we mentioned. They're going to be traveling to Red Oak, both 1-0 teams. Arlington Heights versus Panther Creek, a 1-0 teams.
Yeah.
Um, Melissa is traveling to China Spring, so I think that's kind of outside of DFW, but that might be that's one of the top games. Obviously, talking about Melissa and then China Spring, they're
Right.
defending state champ in 4A 4A D1, I think, but they won state last year. Carter and Kimball is a good one in Dallas ISD, and then Texarkana Texas High is traveling to Colleyville Heritage. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be another exciting week, and
Yeah.
we can kind of expect some more upsets. But hopefully, for our pickup challenge, I go 10 or 1.
Have a little more luck this go around.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. We love it. And again, super excited that football season is back. And it's going to be another exciting week. So let's hop on over to volleyball real quick. Tournament season is officially over for most teams, it looks like, in the state. We're coming up on 1 month of the season, which is crazy. August is flying by. What can you take away from the first 3 weeks of the season thus far?
Well, it's no surprise, but the best volleyball is here in DFW, and I mean, going to some of these tournaments. I went to Mansfield ISD week 1, Northwest ISD Classic week 2, which is one of the top premier tournaments in the state. Week 2 down south was Pearland, which is always pretty good. And then this past weekend, got to watch the Arlington Showcase, but down south was perhaps the best of the best, one of the best in the country, the Volleypalooza. I mean, that's a lot of those teams will be there at the end. But yeah, 6A Region 1 is always a gauntlet. And, I did those rankings over the weekend, 6A. You can check that out on gmsportsmedia.com. But it's kind of like, there's so many good teams, you just don't know who's going to be there at the end. It could be this team or that team. You can just flip. Same way with 5A Region 1 and 5A Region 2. Those are some of the toughest regions in the state. And you mentioned tournament season is over for most. District is coming up this week. A lot of teams are going to kind of have their final tune-ups with non-district. There actually is one more tournament, but it's out of state. It's in Orlando. I believe Grapevine, Argyle, Liberty Christian, and I think Flower Mound are all traveling to Florida for that one. But
Awesome.
yeah, most of the other teams will be just getting ready for district season in the following week.
Exciting. Super, super exciting stuff. So we have Byron Nelson, number 1 in 6A, in Colleyville Heritage in 5A. Who are some others that are ranked, and some surprise teams 3 weeks into the season?
Yeah, I'll just tell you, Byron Nelson, they're 18-1. Their only loss coming to Spring Grand Oaks at the Northwest ISD semifinals. Took them to 3 sets. Byron always, known for their volleyball program ever since they opened up the school. Bree Barker, who is over there, she's been a state champ and an All-American. They got a lot. I got to watch a couple games at the Northwest Classic, and really good team with Cindy Peterson, Kylie Kleckner leading the way. Sophie Peterson is only a freshman, but probably going to be one of the top setters pretty soon. Colleyville Heritage, number 1 in 5A. They were defending 5A champs. They're 21-6. You could kind of put them as a surprise team. I know Josh McKinney does a great job as coach, and they always bring athletes, but there were questions here the first month, after graduating their their big three and Morgan Howard, Reagan Engler, and Bella Busey. Top libero, Ava Ash, not playing this year. So kind of a new look, but if you have a kid like Suli Davis, who is a junior, and she's probably reaching 6'2", 6'3", the potential, you can always count on that team if you have Suli Davis on your squad. And interesting enough, and this kind of tells you the athlete she is. I mean, she's 6'2", and her hang time is just through the roof.
Yeah.
She had 500 kills last year, and helped them win state. But now awesome. She's been setting. They're running a 6'2" offense with her as a setter, and that just tells you the athlete she is and the hand she has.
Yeah.
And perhaps that could help in the long run when perhaps she's moved to hitter full time and say the playoffs, and maybe her she's not as tired, her arm's not as tired from all the swings throughout the season. So
right.
21-6, they won the Mansfield tournament in week 1. So yeah, Josh McKinney's doing a great job. Like I mentioned, 6A Region 1 is just tough as nails. I mean, after Byron Nelson, you have teams like Prosper, Flower Mound, who has won state before. Prosper's won state before. Even Byron's district. I mean, 4-6A is one of the toughest. I mean, that stretch right there, 4, 5, and 6A, right. Toughest in the state. You have Keller, Salt Lake Carroll, who are in the rankings. Carroll can be kind of classified as a surprise team. New coach Leslie Jackson. They've got some really good wins this year, and some good kids led by Kat Millsap there. She's kind of the quarterback at setter. West Texas A&M commit. Eaton has good freshman group. Prosper in 5-6A. Allen has won a tournament. Then 6-6A Flower Mound, who's probably going to win that district or at least contend with it with Plano West. Plano East, probably surprise team. They're off to, I want to say 13-6. They came in. They played at the Volleypalooza, had a pretty nice showing, came in 3rd at Allen. Lolo Lambert is one of their top kids. Nice addition. She came over from Bishop Lynch. She's going to Arkansas. I mean, there's just so much. I mean, 5A, you got Wakeland, Argyle,
right,
all ranked at our rankings. I know I'm missing a bunch too. I mean, that just tells you how good they are. Melissa, Alito, just in Northwest. Yeah, I mean, you can check all the rankings on our site, gmsportsmedia.com. Surprise teams, though, awesome. Like a true underdog, I'm gonna say, we'll start with Rice City. They're 27-2, and they had 23 wins last year, so 27 in the first one, not even district.
Wow.
The Bulldogs off to a hot start. Keller Central is 20-5 under a new head coach. So that's impressive for them. Fort Worth Pasco, my buddy Tim Ryman, getting the Panthers off to a good start. 19-8, I think, only 17 wins last year. And then, a couple others, I think. Little Elm off to a great start. My friend Kelly Covert, only 9 wins last season, already surpassed that. So, yeah, awesome. I mean, there's a bunch of teams moving forward, and hopefully they can keep it up when district starts.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. And I just want to say congrats to the teams thus far, the athletes, both football and volleyball, and good luck on the rest of the season. And so just to kind of close here, this was all amazing, Brian. Thank you for taking the time to do this today. Please be sure to check us out at gmsportsmedia.com, as Brian was referring throughout the meeting, so that you can see all these top stories, athletes, and again, anything we missed on this on this interview, as well as YouTube and Instagram at GM Sports Media. And be sure to tag us on Twitter and continue to send us emails with your plays of the week, top performers of the week for football and volleyball. I'm Maddie Cawley, and this is Brian Gossett. We're with GM Sports Media, and this is Game Time with the Goss. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, aloha.